for joining us this week. We did get a little bit late to this video. We were having some technical difficulties, but happy to be here and talk about the value of pools in real estate. It's like we want to talk about like how much value does a pool really add, but we're really going to go over some numbers of like does a pool actually add. So we're going to give you some raw data because that's probably one of the most common questions I get. My name is Brandon Leon. This is Vanessa. Say hi, Vanessa.
I did.
Oh,
Hello.
okay. And we're here just to kind of educate and help and answer any questions. So I'm curious of the people watching. Some of you may have pools. Put in the comments below if you have a pool and say hi. We'd love to hear from you. But let's talk about like the value overall of pools in real estate. So we're going to do real time data today. So we're talking about from January 1st of this year to about July 17th. So this is like real data for the first, 6, 7 months of the year. And so let's go to that first graph. So in the graph, we have the percentage. So what you're looking at is the percentage of homes sold with pools. So we have them by city. Some are in Placer County, some are in Sacramento County. But so 28% of all homes sold in Roseville were sold with pools this year. That's quite a bit. Folsom had 30%. Granite Bay had 56%. So over half.
That's a big number.
That's a huge number.
Half the homes sold.
Half the homes sold. 95864 would be an Arden area, so like Arden Park and surrounding. So those are going to be over $1 million. A lot of estates, beautiful properties out there. That's over 3/4, 76%. But then you go to places that aren't like downtown Sac, and what's the reason that downtown Sac doesn't have any pools?
Well, they have very small yards.
Yeah, tiny yards.
More urban.
More city. Congested. And so then Elk Grove, you get a little bit further out, you have some bigger yards, so almost about 25%. Oak Park being just an older area that they're gentrifying has really come a long way. 2%, and then we have Rancho Cordova in Sacramento County that's 10%. So okay, so now we know the percentage of homes that are actually selling with pools. So like now let's look at the prices. Like I think this is interesting to look at. Again, if you have any questions about, because every pool is different. Let me start out by saying, before we do questions, every pool is completely different. So you have the cookie cutter small pool that you've had for a long time, and you have some like in Carmichael. I don't know why, but Carmichael, the city of Carmichael, has the biggest pools. They're huge, and they were all built in the 60s and 70s, and they're just humongous pools. But every pool has a different value depending on the condition, depending on how it's built, the construction, gunite, fiberglass, if it has actual waterfalls, stones.
Water features.
Yep, water features. Does it have pebble tech?
Now we're seeing fire.
There's so many.
Features.
There's so many different. Yeah, I know. There's all kinds, slides, all that. So depending on the pool, it's going to add more value. So I can't tell you right now in this video, like, hey, how much your pool adds value to your house. Like, what's the actual number? I would need to see your house in order to have that conversation. But the rule has changed over the year because it used to be the pool added quite a bit of value, and then for a while it was like, man, it's adding like maybe $5,000, and then COVID came and it changed. The pandemic changed a lot, and people were just willing to pay more. Now the market was crazy, right, in the 2-year period, but we also had people willing to pay more for houses, but people also willing to pay more for pools. Kind of hard to prove. But as we look at Sacramento County, of the homes, the percentage of homes that were sold without pools, we're going to look at that versus price range, which I think is a great indication of what buyers are looking for. Now, this is actually a story that Ryan Lundquist, Sacramento Appraisal Blog, that he put together, which I think is amazing. He does great stuff. So thanks for that, Ryan. So we're looking into Sacramento County. So under 300,000, that's a hard price range right now. There's not really a lot of homes, but under that, there's about 3%. But as you see, as we jump every 100,000, you can see the numbers go up. You can see 300 to 400,000. 6%, 400 to 5, 9%, 500, 700,000, 21%. And it just keeps going up and up and up until
I'd
you get
say
over a
that
million.
that's the big jump though, is once you hit that $500,000 mark for a home,
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at 20% of the homes are being sold with pools. So it's almost like there's that that becomes an expectation that there's going to be a pool.
Yep.
So look, I mean, at the $1 million mark, you're at 50%. So half of the homes in that price range are going to have pools. So if you're seeing half the homes that you're looking at, half of them have pools, there's begins to be that expectation.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a real thing. That there are a lot of houses that have pools also that need work. So that's another thing. Like just because there's a house with a pool, it doesn't mean necessarily adds value because if it needs to be resurfaced and man, we went to help a client in Granite Bay and their pool needed about I don't know $50,000 of work. I mean, it
Yeah.
had
It was beautiful
it
pool
was
too.
so
You
nice.
could tell there was custom rock work done,
Hmm.
and there was this beautiful water feature with it, but it had not been taken care of.
Yeah. And
So
so we go in to talk about pricing, and they just pull out all this value. And I said, well, you have these stones. You guys know about the faux stones that you can see, like the fake stones that are thick and you can stand on, but they're not actual real rock. Well, they have it all over the pool, but it had disintegrated, and the stone was in the pool. Literally, stones were all over the ground of the pool. So it had been real deferred maintenance. And I said, well, now this is a liability. It's not necessarily adding value. So, anyways, that's just a story regionally we dealt with, but that's Sacramento County. So as we look at that and we say, okay, well, houses over 2 million, 64%, right? Not as many of those. So obviously a different number, but let's go to Placer County. Like we live in Placer County ourselves. And so, Ness, you want to go over this one?
so I'd say anything under 400,000, you're looking at 2 to 0% of the
Mhm.
homes having pools. But when you hit that $500,000 mark, you're going to 20%. Then it jumps almost to 40% to 700 to a million. And then again, right at that million mark, you're at a million or 50%, 55%. But the
Mhm.
big jump is then you go to 1.5 to 2 million, and it's all the way up to 83%. That is significant. That means like 8 out of 10 houses you're looking at will have pools.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a huge number.
And we were with the client showing them a house in Clover Valley this week, and that was in that range, 1 to 1.5. And I remember you saying, what
Yeah,
did
like, well, it's like I've been saying, there's the more you're looking at homes, and there's almost that built expectation, right, inside of each person that's been looking at homes. And when you're looking at a $1 million property, there's an expectation that if I'm paying this amount for this property,
Mhm.
where's the pool?
Yeah.
Like,
And,
show me the pool.
and to her point, that's what she said. She looks over at me and she says, "Hey, like for this price, I really feel like this house should have a pool." And that was before,
We've seen all the
we saw,
numbers,
yeah, we
right?
looked at all the numbers and everything. And so this isn't a
So I was
surprise
like,
to us.
see, it's not just me. Like,
Yeah. And so the average sales price in Placer County being in the 700,000s, like lower 700,000s, that's still at 40%. Now, whether you want to buy a house with a pool or not, or whether you own a pool and you're selling it, I think everyone's always looking at things on how does this, like, what does this mean for me? Um, in most cases, it is adding value, and even though it's adding value, to what point? There's a lot of other factors because it's not just about the pool. What if you have a pool and no yard? What if you walk out to the backyard and you just have a pool and that's it, and there's no space? So the lot size can also make a big difference. So the overall value is kind of tough because I think a lot of people look at the pool, but they'll also couple the pool with the yard. So if you put the pool and the yard in one package to look at that value on what's been done, that's something to look at. So here's the thing. So at what point, Ness, do you pay to put a pool in? Like at what point does that make sense?
I don't think it ever makes sense.
Yeah.
Like
I
as a financial
yeah.
standpoint, it doesn't make sense. The amount that you pay for a pool is not going to add that same amount of value to your home. So that's kind of the hard part. And we've
Mhm.
talked to people that have put in some beautiful pools.
Mhm.
And this is how it was explained to us. It's a terrible financial decision. However, it's the best investment for your family. So you're not going to add, you put in $100,000 pool. It is not automatically taking your house from 500,000 to 600,000. You're not going to get the same value out
Mhm.
of it.
No, that's definitely true. And so, figuring out the value, there's a lot of factors. We just got priced out for our pool. We do have a retaining wall in our backyard. We got several different prices. I mean, we were, 100,
Yeah.
to put in a pool.
We're part of the, and that's, I think, the one, if we want to look at the next graph of
Mhm.
just like how many people have been starting to put pools in their yard just since the pandemic, right? Because they're enjoying their backyard and realizing there should be a pool here.
Pool sales in Sacramento.
Right? So when we're looking at pool sales in Sacramento, we can clearly see the uptick from 2020 to 2021 and how quickly that spiked up. And so we had gotten bids as well, not knowing that it was everybody's, business to be doing this, but we got bids in 2021. We got bids in 2022. It has been something that we have personally really wanted to do for our family. We have 4 boys, so they're super active. So we're like, yeah, pool to get their energy out. But that is interesting to see that many people were doing and considering the same things. But the price for putting in a pool has also gone up because not only was it high demand, but then we also had in those years the supply issues of concrete and rebar and all those things
Mhm.
that were all of a sudden hard to get your hands on.
Yeah, no, that's great. And looking at this graph, the light blue is the number of sales of houses with pools, by the year. The dark blue line is going to be the percentage of sales with pools. And so as we're looking, you can see in 2020, uh, from 2020 to 2021, you could see how significantly it went up, and then it really went down. A big reason of that, like she said, was supply chain issues. So you could see the graph and you could totally tell, but the number spiked, and there were a lot of people that put pools in during that time, and we're in the process. That's totally normal.
So now there's going to be so many more homes with pools installed
Mhm.
already that it'll be interesting to see this graph in the future.
And so that's where it comes in, where if you're in a position where you own a house and you have a pool and you're wondering how much value it adds and you want to get that return, maybe you put the pool in the last 5 or 10 years and you're curious, just send one of us a direct message and we'll be able to help you figure out what that value is. But I hope this helps if you're like considering putting in a pool, just to know what the actual prices are. I mean, it could be 75 to $80,000 depending on where you are. We're in Rockland. We have really hard ground, so the dig's going to take longer. It's going to cost more. There are also issues with side yards, right? How much space do you have to be able to get the full size or smaller size equipment? It's also the time of year, so there's a lot of variables putting in the pool. So if you have any questions about that specifically, send me a message. I'd be happy to help.
So I'd say too, even a takeaway for you as a seller, that if you're looking at your price range of your home, if you're in the 500 to 700 and plus range, the a lot of your buyers are going to expect a pool, right? They kind of have that preconceived idea that there should or there should be a pool.
Yeah, and
So
the higher the price range,
right,
the
the
more
higher the
people are going
price
to
range.
expect a
So
pool.
there's that sellability factor that will make your home look more desirable to the people that are buying homes right now. I mean, we live in California and we're finally hitting the summer heat wave. And so, yeah, they're looking at houses and they're going, oh, a pool, a
Mm-hmm.
backyard oasis. Like, so it does help with the sellability and maybe not increasing tons in value or words or amount of money, but it
Right.
is the sellable factor.
Yeah. And out of when we have conversations with 10 buyers, I would say 6 of them say, yes, we want a pool, like in any price range. Just the desire to have a pool. And three are probably like, we don't care either way. Like we'd love a pool, but it's not like a necessity. And then one says like, absolutely not.
No
Like I don't want the upkeep. I don't want,
maintenance. Yeah.
yeah, all that stuff. So everyone's kind of in a different boat. But I'd love to get some stats on the actual value. And again, that's hard to quantify because of the different types of yards and the different areas. But I would love to try to get some data around the actual value average of what it adds. But it's like anything. Like even in real estate, when I talk to people, they talk about price per square foot. Well, price per square foot's all relative because you have different areas and lot sizes and
You're like, does that square foot have tile countertops?
yeah,
or
the upgrades and the maintenance,
granite
yeah,
countertops?
all that's different. But either way, we hope this was helpful for you. Should you have any questions, let us know. If you have a pool, don't forget to say hi. We'd love to hear from you. And we're
Hope you're
always,
enjoying it.
yeah, we're always going to come back. I know. I want to enjoy a pool.
Yeah, someday.
Yeah. We're always here to add value to you. So if you have something you'd like us to cover regarding real estate at all, let us know. Send us a direct message or comment below. If you have any questions about selling or buying a house, just reach out to us. We're here to help. We will see you next week live on Wednesday around 1 p.m. Have a good one, guys.